The town of Berlin. Country charm at the center of Connecticut.
Okay, everyone, welcome. We'll call the Tuesday, January 17th, 2017 Town Council meeting to order, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call.
Councilor Campanelli.
Here.
Councilor Evans.
Here.
Mayor Kaczynski.
Here.
Councilor Luddy.
Here.
Councilor Pinessa.
Here.
Councilor Rosette.
Here.
Councilor Rosso.
Here.
Mary Halcorn.
All right, thank you. All right, we have tonight, we'll start with, we have a couple proclamations for a couple Eagle Scouts. Always quite a achievement, and we appreciate you guys being here tonight. So I'm going to read the first one for Daniel DeRoches, I'm sorry, that's right. I hope I got that right. Okay. Daniel's Eagle project consisted of taking down 140 feet of old rotted handrails and posts and replacing them with new pressure-treated 4x4 posts and 2x2 handrails on one of the trails at the New Britain Youth Museum in Hungerford Park. After digging 36 inches into the ground, taking out big pieces of stumps, rocks along the way, new posts were put in and backfilled with crushed stone every 8 feet, with 3 rails every 8 feet set to precise specifications. Very good. Over the course of a month, Danny organized many volunteers, including members of Troop 41, to assist with implementation, which took over 125 hours to complete. Funding was acquired through donations from family, friends, and generous businesses within the community. The trail is used every day for people walking their dogs and citizens going on nature walks arranged through Hungerford Nature Center. The new handrail now provides the support needed, especially during the winter months, to scale the steep steps of the incline while increasing safety by blocking a small river and a stream from children. So that sounds like a great project. I appreciate you doing that. So what I will do is I have your proclamation here. We'll present that to you now. So Town of Berlin Town Council proclamation. Be it hereby known to all that the Town of Berlin hereby recognizes Daniel DeRoches on achieving the rank of Eagle Scout, Boy Scouts of America. In recognition of his commitment to his family, community, and the principles of Eagle Scouting, the Town Council congratulates Daniel and extends best wishes to him in all of his future endeavors. And this was dated 7th of January this year. So, hey, congratulations. You did a great project, a lot of hard work. You did a great job. We're all proud of you. Thank you. Thanks. We have another one too. The other one. Next one is Jacob Topliff. Welcome tonight. Glad you're here. Jacob's Eagle project was replacing the split rail fence at the pavilion at Timberland Park, which was very old, rotted, termite infested, and an eyesore. He planned for, coordinated with, and restores approximately 130 feet of fencing along the slope adjacent to the pavilion, extending the fence an extra 20 feet to ensure the safety of individuals at pavilion events and minimize erosion on the bank. To ensure proper planning and installation, Jacob worked with Steve Wood, Public Grounds Foreman for the Town of Berlin, on the specifications required. Funding for the materials was acquired through a generous donation to purchase the wood, 360 pounds of concrete to secure the fence, and 500 pounds of stone for drainage. Must have broken your backs doing that. Scouts from Troop 44 assisted Jacob in removing the old fencing, clearing underbrush and trees on the bank and surrounding area, digging 14 holes, pouring concrete and stone to complete the installation over 3 weekends, totaling over 200 man-hours. As a result, many residents in Berlin will enjoy this beautiful area in a safe environment. So thanks for that project. A lot of work there, back-breaking work. got a proclamation to you, Jacob, as well.
That's right.
Town of Berlin Town Council proclamation. Be it hereby known to all that the Town of Berlin recognizes Jacob Topliff on achieving the rank of Eagle Scout, Boy Scouts of America. In recognition of his commitment to his family, community, and the principles of Eagle Scouting, the Town Council congratulates Jacob and extends best wishes to him in all of his future endeavors. This was signed January 14, 2017. So congratulations. Thanks a lot for helping Berlin out. Thank you. Great jobs by our young people. Just a couple of things they could do. I'm sure there's many more things they do every day. We appreciate you guys being here, and good luck in the future. Next, we have our audience of citizens. We have Barbara Coughlin signed up. You don't have to sign up, but we'll take Barbara first, and we'll take raised hands after.
Just wanted to take a moment to congratulate them. My son was an Eagle Scout, also did his project at Hungerford, and was in Troop 41.
Oh, great. Great.
Awesome. My name is Barbara Coughlin. I'm at 259 Alling Street. The reason I'm here is that I am very distressed about the abrupt termination of Denise McNair's contract. In the 8 years that she has been town manager, she has been universally admired as being competent, intelligent, dedicated, and ethical. The only reason that has been given for her termination is that the Republican members of the council want change. It's beyond my comprehension why one would want change from competency, intelligence, dedication, honesty, not to mention affability and class. I didn't mean to go into a hagiography here, but still. It doesn't make any sense to do something like this simply for the sake of change. A town manager is not a hairstyle. You know, yeah, I know it looks good, but I'm tired of it. I want to change. It doesn't make any sense to change from someone who is known to be devoted, knowledgeable, level-headed, even-handed, and honest for an unknown factor. Someone who may well be just using Berlin as a stepping stone. As my grandmother would say when I did something particularly boneheaded, "Ye gods, what were you thinking?" What's more, the timing is terrible. We're just about to enter the budget process. While I'm sure that Mr. Healy is competent at his job, does he have the specialized skills required to formulate the town budget? The stealth nature of this process is also of concern to me. Swapping out the town manager for the sake of change had not been on the radar. None of this was mentioned when you were campaigning. It was all about how there was supposedly going to be no tax increase. But apparently not even the minority party council members had even a whiff of this, much less ordinary citizens. Where was bipartisanship, collaboration, unity? Where was there an attempt to determine the will of the people? Everyone I've spoken to about this is shocked and horrified. Just because you are currently the majority party does not mean that Berlin is your private fiefdom. You are supposed to be serving the people of the town of Berlin to their advantage, meeting their needs, and representing their vision. And lastly, since the Republicans are supposed to be all about saving taxpayer money, how much is this change going to cost us? We have the $65,000 severance pay for Ms. McNair, which she undoubtedly deserves. I assume a temporary salary increase for Mr. Healy, and the cost of a nationwide search for a new town manager, not because the present town manager wanted to retire or move on, not because she was performing her job poorly, but simply because the Republicans wanted change. At the next municipal election, perhaps we will have change. Unfortunately, it will not be able to undo the damage that has been incurred by the loss of Denise McNair as our town manager.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak? Yes, sir.
Samuel Maglio, 78 Hickory Hill Road. I'm here to talk about a different subject. In lieu that we're having a Board of Finance, I've given some serious thought about this, that I thought it would be an honor if we could name the Board of Finance room where the Republicans meet now in their caucus room and honor Dr. McIntosh, who was on the Board of Finance for years and years and years. He was a successful veterinarian in this town. He was on the Board of Education. He was on the nursing. He was on a number of boards, and he was also elected on the town council, I think, when he was in his 90s. He was very well respected in this town. And he served in the Board of Finance as chairman for a number of years, and he was successful. The people in this town trusted him. They liked him. They always voted. He was probably one of the highest vote getters in town. Sometimes he got more votes than the mayor. He would have been mayor under this form of town council if he was younger when he ran. Yeah, he had some battles with the Board of Education, but the things that people didn't understand is when Doc had his little battles or said no on the day that we set the mill rate, Doc had another passion. He baked pies. And Doc would bake all these pies, and he'd take it to the Board of Education, and he would have pies with the Board of Education downstairs in the superintendent's office, and he'd take it to us on the Board of Finance, and we would have our pies when we set the mill rate. So he always believed in not getting anybody mad and bipartisanship. He believed in bipartisanship when we had true bipartisanship back in the 80s and the 90s. So if the council could think about naming the Board of Finance room after Doc McIntosh, we also, and a number of us do have a portrait of Doc McIntosh that we like to put in that room, and possibly if you could, we have some ideas and some design that we can share with the council if you voted to name the board after Doc McIntosh.
Can I just ask a question?
Yes.
Where's the Board of Finance room?
It's where the Republicans meet in their
Yeah,
caucus
the
room.
What is
Caucus
that
room.
caucus?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I was
They
going to
used
ask
to-
that too. I wasn't sure. Yeah, so
That used to be the old Board of Finance room for years, and that's where we met back in the 80s and 90s. I don't know about the 70s. I wasn't around back then. But back in the late 80s and 90s, we met there, and we spent a lot of time there. And that was Doc. Doc was the Board of Finance, and people trusted Doc. And it would be a great honor to name something after Doc McIntosh, because he's done a lot for this town. And what people don't realize is that under Doc McIntosh's regime, when we were on the Board of Finance, we expanded all the schools from Woolard all the way up to McGee. It was Doc McIntosh. It wasn't the council, it was Doc McIntosh, and we did it all. And Doc McIntosh deserves the honor. Thank you.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the audience wish to speak? Yes, sir.
John O'Brien, Vineyard Drive. You know, last meeting, I was here, and all we heard about is Denise McNair. The town has to go forward and everything. I was a Union Democrat all my life. I was a Democrat up until 4 years ago. I seen what happened to this town. The tax increase year after year for 10, 12 years. My taxes went up. And I look at this town, I look at the infrastructure, I look at the roads, I look at the buildings. Where'd the money go? You know, last November, this town wanted a change. They voted for a change. The change that was out there was changing town government. Out with the old, in with the new. Unfortunately, it came a year later. You know, again, I was a Union Democrat up until 4 years ago. I heard, you know, a lot of war stories, what was going on in this town, and I think the change was way overdue. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Once, twice, 3 times? Okay, end of our audience of citizens. We will move on to our consent agenda. We have two items on the consent agenda. Let's just take
Okay.
them. Want to
Yep.
take them one at a time?
No,
Or
just,
both? You both?
just want to make a motion to accept the two consent agenda items as they are proposed in front of us.
All right, second?
Second.
Any questions? All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so moved. New business, number 1, the Berlin train station.
As council knows, the town of Berlin has been actively engaged in trying to restore the Berlin train station since the year 2000. Unfortunately, just after Christmas, there was a fire and the station burned down. The Berlin Historical Society is responding to this unfortunate turn of events, and they have gone online with a petition to have the station rebuilt if possible. And the petition has been online. There have been many signatures. I tried to access it this afternoon online, but I wasn't able to get on. I know they've been having some difficulties. It was felt by the Economic Development Commission, who took a vote at their last meeting, that it might be a good indication of support if the council came out in support of the rebuilding of the train station. There has been a letter, I believe, that all of the council has received from Maureen Stubb, from the Berlin Historical Society, as well as Civic Moxie, who has been doing the work evaluating and looking at the whole area of the TOD, the Transit-Oriented Development Area, and also the Economic Development support the petition for the rebuilding of the train station.
Okay, thanks. Well, let's see, so we have a motion. So let's put the motion on the floor. We can discuss it.
Okay. Move to that the Berlin Town Council supports the position that the Berlin train station should be rebuilt, or that the site should be redeveloped in a manner that is a catalyst to area revitalization and that will recognize the historic former Berlin train station, and directs the town staff to work with Amtrak, Connecticut DOT, the Berlin delegation to the state legislature, the Berlin Historic Society, and others to advocate for this position and to engage in the planning process for the reuse of the site.
Okay, do we have a second on that for discussion?
Second.
Okay, discussion. Yes.
I'd just like to thank the Economic Development Commission for putting in the work on this, and soliciting public input and things of that nature. They did a really good job, and that's important. I also just, I would love to see this train station rebuilt. I just want to be very careful with finances because we don't know what the situation is going to be at the state this year. We really need to take care of our Berlin taxpayers and make sure that this isn't going to create an exorbitant tax increase. So as long as we are doing that, I'm in favor of going with this.
Okay. Yes.
Just a couple of comments on this. I know that this was a big loss for Berlin, and unfortunately, we still don't know the cause of it. I, like Councilor Campanelli, do have some concerns around cost. We heard from the Historic Commission last meeting about wanting to redo the meeting house. We don't know what the cost of that would be. This would add additional cost to the taxpayers, and concerns around we don't own that train station at the moment, so I'm not even sure kind of, what the process would be to get that rebuilt for the state to agree to do that. Would that we have to buy it back in order to do it? I certainly am in favor of redeveloping the area, maybe even bringing in something like a restaurant there and having a portion of it dedicated to the old train station. I know that may not be what the Historic Commission wants fully, but I do think it's worth looking into, but being cautious that we're not burdening the taxpayers with additional taxes that would go towards this, especially when there's the new station being built right next door that will be functional in nature.
Thank you.
A couple.
What else?
I don't disagree with anything that was said. It was a horrible loss. I mean, I toured that building in 2014 when it went out to bid, and some of my pictures made it into a couple publications. But I think there are a lot of unknowns. To move forward with this, we could box ourselves in And, the process isn't finished yet. We don't know. I mean, there's got to be insurance claims here going on, and I think we should probably wait to see what happens before we really move on a motion.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, I have Mayor, I have the same questions, ownership, status of insurance claims, if we commit at this point to want to rebuild at this point, does that say, okay, we're going to take that full burden upon us? There was construction in process. There's certainly claims that are associated with that. I really think it's premature to this. It's great ideas to advocate for a planning process. I think we can do that without a motion. I don't think we need to say that we're not supportive of finding a great use for that location. But I looked at the the graph of our debt, interest and principal payments, and we still haven't peaked. And I think there's time to consider how much we don't have any costs associated with it. So again, I think it's premature to move forward with that, and I don't think the Economic Development Commission has that authority to fund such a direction at this point. So I think they have some great interest for our town. I think that, I've traveled out of there when it was a active station, and understand the nostalgic nature of it, and it's completely gone in the sense that there's maybe bricks left. I have the concern about the Worthington Meeting House, that if we don't do something with it. So I'm cautious that we throw everything out and get rid of anything historic, but unfortunate, this one's in a tough state right now.
And excuse me.
Yeah.
And it would also be interesting to see what the updates are from Amtrak on this project, because last I heard, this project was multi-million dollars over budget. So someone wiped their head and said, we don't have to deal with that building for now. I don't think it would be nice to know what Amtrak's feeling is of it. And I think we should probably support something there, but not make a motion on it.
Mayor,
Yeah.
I had a thought as we were talking. It might make sense, and I'm just sort of talking through this now, but to put together a committee or a commission or something to look into recommendations for what we should do there. And, it could be representatives from economic development, maybe a representative from the council, representative from, whatever other committees you think are important, citizens, obviously historic district, and look at what potential things could go there, and then come forward with a recommendation to us.
Okay. Peter?
Yeah, I'm going to support this. I don't see any position that we're going to have to spend any money. What I see is that the state should rebuild on the site or redevelop the matter, be a catalyst to that whole downtown area. I don't see any money attached to this. I see this as us advocating for this position and to engage in the planning process. So I'm going to support it. I fail to see any funds being committed to this.
Anybody else? Charlie?
I too support the concept. I just think it's a little premature till we find out who's going to own it and if they have any plans. And of course we want to have input on what happens there. I support us staying abreast of what's going on. I don't know if it's too early for us to get involved or not. I certainly don't want to commit us to any debt, but I'd hate to see that asset lost.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I could go either way. I mean, I do agree with Peter that in looking at, I was reading the motion earlier today, thinking, no, we don't want to move this because we don't want to commit, because let's face it, that's a federal, Amtrak owns that building. So they're still, and we all know they're in the process of still investigating it. There's insurance claims, and I think the building is leased back to the state for $1 or something. So you got the state, you got Amtrak, and you really have Berlin almost out of the picture, almost really, as far as I know, it sits in our town. But if you read this motion closely, I guess it does just advocate for a position, which is not. I don't believe we could. If we need to make this more clear, we could. That we're not committing to anything. We're just going to advocate that we hope what it says here, that they could do something with that area, whether they redevelop that station or whether they put up a piece of wall that commemorates it, or I don't know what, but I don't know. I mean, whatever the consensus seemed to be, we'll just take a vote, and it is what it is. But I mean, I think we're all in favor of doing something to remember the train station. If they could rebuild it, all the better. I mean, that would be wonderful. But I think it is premature with the whole situation, that it's certainly not been worked out between the federal government and the state government and the town. So we know nothing's probably going to happen for a while. And we can also, whatever we do with this motion, I agree, Councilor Campanelli, we can certainly continue to get together, talk about it, and continue to advocate with the Historical Society and others to see what we can do once it is sorted out by the interested parties. So we can take a vote, and it is what it is. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Okay. So, again, just so it's clear, I think it's clear, we're just advocating to do something with the train station.
What was the?
We're gonna.
I'm sorry,
I'm
was that a 6-1 vote?
Yeah.
Never know.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Just going forward, we will keep in touch with economic development. We'll obviously I know the fire marshal's still investigating. I know ATF was there, the state was there, so when they conclude that, when Amtrak straightens it out with the state, we'll just hopefully be there and keep pushing our position forward that they don't forget about the train station that was lost, and they do the best they can to replace it or commemorate it somehow. Okay, number 3. 2, I'm sorry.
The Connecticut Cycling Advancement Program, CCAP, is working with Berlin High School Riding Redcoats Cycling Club in its efforts to hold a one-day race on April 29th. This was before the council early in December, I believe. This is a capstone project for 5 seniors who are all with us this evening. CCAP is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. They are working with the young men to organize the race and to also assist with some of the promotion and logistics of the thing. If you recall, when they were before you, originally you had sent it to the Conservation Commission to work with them on whatever conditions the Conservation Commission felt were appropriate. This race would take place in the Hatchery Brook Conservation Area. These are mountain bikes. They're not motorbikes, but they're mountain bikes. The races would begin at 8:30, and the last race would start around 1 o'clock. The whole day would take place with parking to be located nearby on either Linden or one of the other roads that are in the area. CCAP will provide the insurance, which will be reviewed. The police department will work with the final review of the location for the parking and signage. Portable restrooms will also be available. The commission felt very strongly that there should be a rain date to protect the trails, and then they also want to make sure that the trails are restored to any kind of condition that they were prior. Council is being asked to approve it. The young men are here if there are any questions, and I know that Helen has been assisting them with the logistics for this race.
Okay, thanks. Make a motion on this?
Sure. Move to approve the request by the Berlin High School Riding Redcoats Cycling Club and the Connecticut Cycling Advancement to approve a bike race to take place at the Hatchery Brook Conservation Area on April 29th, 2017, with a rain date of May 20th, 2017, with the condition that the applicants work with the Conservation Commission to assure that the trails are in a condition to accommodate a bike race and that the trails will be fully restored after the race.
Second on that?
Second.
Discussion?
I have
Yes.
questions.
Yes.
And I'm not sure, Helen, or who's going to be able to answer these, but I actually have 2 questions. So the first is about parking, and will residents around that area be notified about the parking? Because I'm assuming it's going to have to be vans with, if they're bringing in schools with bikes and stuff.
Just talking to the microphone, okay, guys?
Hi.
Just
Morgan
state your name for the record.
Morgan Hamilton.
Okay.
Me and several of the other people here went up and down Linden Street and Summitwood Street and personally handed out letters to the residents stating the date and the race, and everybody that opened the door to us was very okay with it.
Awesome.
Well, I'm glad they opened it.
Thank you guys. That's great.
I
That's
do
really
have one
awesome.
more question again, and Helen, this may be from you, but if you guys are racing out in the trails, is there going to be notification so that there's not walkers or hikers out on those trails who are going to all of a sudden be in the midst of a bunch of high schoolers riding their bikes?
I believe the CCAP volunteers will be putting up signs a week in advance before the race starts.
Okay. Okay. I just want to make sure there's enough notification that we don't want to run into a situation where someone could be injured, scared, right? Hi.
Hi, I'm Karen Franzen. I'm from the Connecticut Cycling Advancement Program. Through our marketing, through our publicist, and also social media, plus we will have marshals at intersections there, volunteer marshals, to stop anybody and let them know when the riders are coming. So that will be covered, yes.
Great, thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, hold on. Don't go anywhere. I think we have more questions. Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
I actually don't have a question. I just want to say thank you guys for putting this together. This is going to be a really great community event, and I love seeing the capstone projects come up here. We don't usually get to see them, and I used to sit on the Board of Ed, and it's something that's very near and dear to my heart. So thanks, guys. You did an awesome job.
Thank you. That's good. Thanks. Don't go anywhere. Good.
So I had a suggestion in the sense that if they're going to run the race, then and I've walked the trail, all of that trail before, you may want to send a single bike through the path ahead of time, however many minutes before the start of the race, in addition to the marshals. So if that could fit into your plans and is helpful, take it. I won't take any credit for that one. For the team there, and this is something that I hope you may have seen. The Berlin Land Trust put over a note to the town manager, and part of this came and was presented to the Conservation Commission, and this has to do with land use. And I thought it was an interesting thing that I don't know if we have an answer to. I'll ask the town manager first on it, and then we can maybe talk about it. But the Land Trust, who's been helpful in us in acquiring various properties, had indicated that the conservation easements imposed over the said open space by either the state or federal government should be reviewed to ensure that these easements were not violated by this use. And I'm not sure whether we've done that, but I'd want to make sure that that's done before the race starts. And I'd hate to disappoint you and say, yeah, go for it, and then we hear something different. So I don't know if we heard back on that or not.
We have not. The Conservation, Helen may have, the Conservation Commission, Helen, you want to address that? Did speak of that. Thank you.
Jim Mahoney, as you are aware, was key in helping acquire all of these properties, and he had Chris pull the deeds, and then I read them all, and they talk about passive recreation, but they define that as non-motorized, and that there aren't like set playing fields and that sort of thing. So I've been through all of the deeds, and they all seem to check out. So I think that we're pretty comfortable with this event taking place on the land. I have all the deeds in my folder. The other thing about
that's great to hear.
Thank you.
And it's helpful for folks doing a capstone know that sometimes there's challenges that we have to overcome that we aren't aware of, and we have to look into them.
We've learned that in
those
other
that are going
situations.
into law in the future, here's your opportunity to dig a little bit deeper. So
Right. We have also, just so you're aware, run this through the police department as far as parking goes, and they have coordinated the parking efforts with these gentlemen, and are aware and will provide whatever services are necessary. The Conservation Commission also asked that the gentleman put up a notice at the parking lot that will be used at where the garden is, maybe a week in advance, so that people know this parking lot won't be available for that day. They were at the last conservation meeting, and that was one of the things that came out. The Conservation Commission is very happy about this event and looks forward to it happening, but also has concerns about the trails and hopes that the gentleman will uphold their agreement to monitor the condition of the trail before and after, so that we can continue such activities in the future.
Great, thanks. And then on the trails, I think I've read in here, right, we're going to just make sure, right before, I don't know when you do it the day before, that the trails, there's no rocks, there's no falling trees that have fallen down that night,
And
or who knows.
That will be the responsibility of the gentleman in that this is their capstone, project.
Yeah.
The Conservation Commission plans to walk the trails prior to the event at some point a week in advance to take pictures and note the condition of the trails. And then they'll...
For destruction, I mean, just if something's
and
disturbed.
they'll definitely make sure that that people are, that's what's so great about our trail system is that they're sort of self-regulated, and the hikers take them very seriously and would generally take care of anything like that as well. But the Conservation Commission does have a schedule to review the trails and then follow up after the event.
Great. Yes.
One more question from a legal perspective, and I know you guys may have already done this, but is there going to be some sort of waiver that is going to be signed that holds the town harmless in case
and
of...
Karen can answer that, but she is providing her own insurance that will be reviewed by our what's Steve Wozniak's title? Our risk manager will be reviewing that as well. So I will have to have that in place before.
But that is not the same as a hold harmless waiver. I just want to make sure. Okay.
Each rider has to fill out a USAC cycling waiver.
Okay.
Which we pull all of our permits and so forth like that. The USAC is the governing body for cycling in the country. Each rider has to sign one. Minors have to have their parents sign it. It can't be by the coach. The parent has to sign it.
Okay.
And we pull certificates of insurance, and we can have everybody listed, the town, the parks, everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And if you will, when you get that, will get it to me so I can get it to our appropriate personnel.
Great.
Excellent.
Excellent. You guys did a great job putting this together, and good luck the day of. I'm sure it'll go fine. Hope you have a lot of people there, and great project. Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank
And
you, Helen,
the motion.
for-
So now we got the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Okay.
Good luck.
You're on your way.
Good luck. Thank you, guys.
Okay. The Berlin Housing Authority. How nice.
As council knows, the last option that was authorized extended it to January 31st of 2017. This is January 17th. We did receive a letter from the Department of Environmental and DEDP, what the other E is for? Energy. And they are not willing to change the grantor from the town to the housing authority. So
Here we are. Again.
So at this point,
So-
there's three alternatives.
Yep.
The first would be conversion, which would involve the town substituting a property that would be restricted to recreational or open space use, because the deeding of this parcel would be considered by the state to be a conversion to use other than what's allowed by the open spape agreement.
So we, in other words, like a substitute another piece.
Right.
If we can find another piece or
Right.
whatever. Okay, so that's one. Option
The
one.
second alternative would be to carve out the 4 acres, which if you recall from a couple of months ago, the Housing Authority was not interested in doing
Right.
because of the perceived additional costs associated with going through the regulatory process with a change in the description of the property. And then the third option, of course, is to let the option expire.
I know this was communicated to Joe today by Jim Mahoney. Did we hear
I
anything?
have not heard anything from
And I know we just got the letter today, I think, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, so I mean, I know it's recent, so, I don't know.
Can I ask a
Yeah,
question about the
absolutely.
open space
Yeah.
swap?
Yeah.
The restrictions on that, does that mean we couldn't have playing fields on that? Right, because it would be passive probably?
What you would have to do, according to DEEP, is provide first of all, satisfy DEEP that, because DEEP's position is that conversion should be avoided if at all possible. So if we were able to convince DEEP that conversion could not be avoided, then we would have to go out, identify another parcel as a replacement parcel, having an appraisal done according to USPAP's Uniform Standards of Professional Appraisal Practice, so a full comprehensive appraisal to satisfy them that the parcel, which should be close to the same size as the parcel you're replacing, has a market value that's equal to or in excess of the converted land.
So that's like 8 acres? We're looking at 8.4.
Four.
Oh, just
Maybe four,
that
the
one
half,
piece,
the
just
four,
that
yeah,
4,
the
okay,
four.
all right.
But still,
I was just
yeah.
I was just thinking that land across from the high school, but I know there's thoughts about putting playing fields on there, and I don't know how big that is, Brendan.
we
I don't
wanted
know if
to-
you know in playing field committee meetings. I don't want to restrict that. I don't want to restrict that land if
I'd be
not,
concerned
so.
about restricting other, well, so that's, so.
May not be big
Do-
enough anyway.
Yeah.
Do we have a copy of the letter that council
Yes.
members could have?
We do,
Yes,
yeah.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
I didn't make
No,
it.
that's okay. That's okay.
I thought Jim had sent it to
Uh,
everyone.
I didn't see it come through my email.
I don't know if I saw an actual copy. He might have sent that.
I didn't see it.
They accompanied it with the conversion policy and procedures, and they do indicate that conversion usually takes a minimum of 6 months and perhaps as long as a year or 2.
Year or two.
That's what it
That's
says,
great.
conversion.
Nice.
If I understand the information that was presented, the project really doesn't need that 4 acres, other than for financing issues.
Yeah,
We've
I mean,
already-
yeah, we've had this debate with
The town
Mr. Petruski
provided
already.
enough area for the elderly housing. Then the town added the 4 acres.
Yeah.
I really don't quite understand
We
why.
didn't add the 4 acres. It was all part of the
It was
original,
part of the original deal.
sale, right?
I thought he needed that part added because they needed a little triangle for drainage right away or something.
That drainage piece was part of the original sale, which was the whole 8 acres.
The whole 8 acres.
Yeah, that was identified partway through after we had done the 8.
Can we transfer that part that it's needed for the drainage and retain the rest of the land?
I don't think they
'Cause
need any of that. I
Well,
think
that
we could-
drainage is not on that 4 acres.
Yeah.
That's on the other side
That's
of
on
the
the other
property.
side.
It's
They
on
don't
the other
even
side
need
in the
that.
back. So
It
they
sounds
don't-
like the additional 4 acres is just an impediment to the project.
Well-
And to tie up another 4 acres in land, that's 8 acres they really don't need, I think is expense and foolhardy. I think
We did discuss this in July, this very same thing, carving the 4 acres out,
Yeah.
and Housing Authority did not want that, so we tried
And we
this.
have no new information to contradict that. So.
No, we never really did.
Who owns that building?
No,
The town?
Knights of Columbus?
Yeah,
Town.
it's us.
Yeah,
Well,
town.
the Housing Authority.
Well, the Housing Authority now, I guess.
Kind
well,
of,
option.
ish.
They got an
I don't
option. They got an
know. I
option.
don't know, right?
I'm just wondering,
Yeah.
what happens to that?
Well, I mean, these are all great questions of which we do not really have any answers to, which is, where we're stuck. But with, this, now we got an answer on one piece that we hoped would be the solution.
Yeah. As I recall, I think the issue with just taking the extra acreage out was that the documents had already, and this is just based on my understanding from past meetings, that the documents had already been prepared with the 4 acres.
Yeah.
So they'd have to re-prepare and resubmit, and I guess there's some very lengthy process that they
And
had
if
gone
we
through.
swapped it out, there'd be another lengthy process
Right.
and more expensive.
Well, I think
Right.
before we make any decision, there was also conversation around what they were going to charge the town if they had to do that. So I think we need to, if we're just not going to give them the 4 acres, I certainly don't want to see this agreement just, fail, because we need senior housing in this town. But if we're just going to say, sorry, we just can't figure out a way to make that 4 acres work, we do need to get an understanding from Joe and the Housing Authority how much it's going to cost this town. We have a lot of unforeseen costs coming to this town in the next 6 months, and I certainly don't want to be charged $70,000. Now, I know a lot of us on the council think that's probably a high number, but I think we need to get a good idea of what that cost is going to be.
Could we have a special meeting maybe?
Well, I think what
Later
we'll probably need to
discuss
do
this?
is probably, I mean, this is our last meeting this month, right?
Yeah.
So,
And it expires January 31st.
yeah, so we probably need to, my suggestion would be perhaps we extend it 2 months.
Okay.
In the interim, we can get some answers to all of these questions we all have from the Housing Authority, from Corporation Council here, could help us get through this. I mean, you know, we're down to, there's no quick option, apparently. You know, we're down, there's nothing that's gonna, because I remember they had some February
Yep, that was
financing
the-
date. That was the reason why we
thing.
tried this
Yeah.
conversion, and I know our state rep, Joe Orsimowitz, tried to, everyone tried to help. It's just not working for whatever reason, but we're trying to get this done, yeah.
Before I provided more money, I'd like to understand where the first grant went for the planning.
Yeah, that's always a question we've had with, I believe Joe Bajorski mentioned $500,000 for the first plan. So, yeah, I mean, there's always been a lot of questions which we really did not get a lot of answers to, ever, from the Housing Authority, so it's disturbing. So do you agree? Should we do a motion for maybe 60 days? Let's try and, the letter just came today, so, you know, we really have had no time to look into this and really look seriously at one of the other options if one is better than the other, and then talk to the Housing Authority. All
Do
right?
you want to extend it until March 31st? maybe?
Yes, let's
Okay,
do
so
that.
it'll be until March 31st.
So let's,
Okay, we'll make a motion to authorize the town manager to enter into an amendment with an option agreement with the town of Berlin and the Berlin Housing Authority to extend the option period to March 31st, 2017.
Okay, second on that?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, the motion carries. Okay, so Jeff, maybe yourself, and if we can, I really need to start with a conversation with the Housing Authority, I think, in light of the letter, and see what I don't know what their timeline is now, right? Didn't he give us some timeline with financing and all
Well,
that?
they had indicated when we had the meeting in early November that they really had to have this issue resolved by mid-January so that
Right.
they could meet the mid-February
Right.
pre-funding deadline.
Right.
But there's a lot of other questions because the notion that the town has liability for document revision or redesign costs associated with the carve-out of the 4 acres is undermined by the fact that the authority has conceded that because the market has changed, they need at least 26 of these units to be 2-bedroom units, which requires a redesign anyway. So, you know, the idea that there's some cost associated with carving the 4 acres out, I can understand that, but I don't think it's as significant as has been alluded to in the past.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess it appears none of these options are quick, at least on their time frame that they gave us.
Well, the state's not willing to release the
Right.
open space agreement. They're
Right.
not willing to allow a substitution of the grantor.
Yeah.
So the conversion option, we have no idea. They say 6 months,
Yeah.
a year or two. We have no idea what that
Right.
means.
Just one question, and then we'll move on. Maybe Helen, you can answer this, town planner. So if he's got to redesign that building with 2 bedrooms, does he need more? The footprint stays the same, or no? Or we wouldn't maybe not even know, but I would think it would, right? Or just
Well, we might
out of
lose
curiosity.
units, I would think, if the footprint
Yeah,
stays the
right,
same, right?
Right.
It depends how he allocates space. I would think probably that he would maybe have a larger footprint, but keep in mind we rewrote this regulation specifically for this project. I mean, I don't want to say specifically for, but what he presented was good, and our regulations accommodated what he wanted to do. So as far as how much parking, how big the bedrooms have to be, all those things are written into the regulations, and they can be tweaked. So to say that he necessarily has to is not a guarantee. I think that he certainly has the ability to work with the Planning Commission and find ways to make what he needs to do now under new state guidelines work on that property. I know the Planning Commission would do what they can to support him.
Okay.
or the project.
All right. We all want it to go forward, so we'll all try our hardest to get it done. So, could we start, Jeff, with
Sure.
see if you can talk to Mr. Bajorski in light of the letter
Absolutely.
and see what his thoughts are, and then we can figure out something going forward.
Will do.
I hope. Thanks. Okay. Number four.
The Environmental Protection Agency, the Federal Environmental Protection Agency and the Connecticut Department of DEEP, again, have really zeroed in to ensure that municipalities limit or eliminate any sewer discharge into the environment. We've had an unusual amount of emergency circumstances this year that have required the services of our local drain doctor, which has increased costs substantially this year. The work has to be done when the emergency occurs so that people can continue to have their sewer, and the response time has to be relatively quick. To date, the Water Control Department has reached $9,500 with the drain doctor, and they are seeking for this fiscal year a bid waiver to utilize up to $32,000 from the Update Sewer Stations account, as they will be going out to bid in February, but it will be prospective, and they're concerned with if an emergency occurs at this point. Now, I'm not sure, Jack is here to discuss the $32,000. I'm not sure where they have gotten this figure from, but I think that they feel that that will carry them through the end of this fiscal year.
Jack, yeah, would you? So, yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, just what they're asking for. Well, so I mean, this 9,500, right, Denise, was from
We've already
July
spent that.
from July 1st to
Correct.
now. Okay.
Yeah, they've just had an unusual number, but and so what they're going to do is they're asking for money to carry them from now until we get the bids in. Adam, I have an email here from Adam that he did put the legal notice in the paper on Friday, so we're going to go through the bid process to set up a, like we do with other services. You have an emergency service that would be approved by the council. Between now and then, we want to be sure that we still have coverage. So Ray went through and he gave an estimate what he thought we would cover, so that we'd cover any incidentals or any incidents that we had.
That's till the end of the year?
No.
Fiscal?
April 1st.
This is only to April 1st?
Yeah, April 1st. April 1st. We have the bid coming in on April 1st.
Yeah.
Well, before April 1st, we'd come to the council with that result and ask for approval of a vendor at that point.
But
this is a bid waiver for the drain doctor.
Right, but I guess maybe I'm confused. But so we spent $9,500 so far
to
now.
We spent more than that.
Okay. Well, it says we have reached the $9,500 threshold for the bid waiver. So the 32 is to pay for some past charges too, or I don't.
I think those are anticipated charges that Ray thinks are coming. Yes.
Till April 1st.
That we've incurred but haven't paid?
Right. Yes.
Oh, okay. So we've incurred some other.
Yes.
Emergency. Yeah.
Are we
sure.
having discussion before motion?
Well, yeah,
Okay,
just because.
Okay, so I think that answered one of my questions. So the reason this is coming is because we've reached that threshold.
Right.
Okay, so we don't actually know what we've spent up to this point. And if you don't have it, I'll let you look. My second question is this kind of a cyclical thing? Do you see more of this happening in the winter or kind of in the spring when things are getting flushed out, or is it just kind of happenstance? It just happens when it happens.
No, it happens more in the winter time with the cold weather, but it's also a function of the age of our system.
Okay.
We've been doing analysis on the system. The pumps that are in our pump stations, we're actually trying to get bids out to redo the pump stations. We're going through an analysis. We've looked at where we are as far as depreciation. Our systems, both the water and the sewer system, have depreciated to a point where we have to, over the next few years, upgrade many of the parts. Part of this associated, we have a couple places where the sewer system, we're having a lot of infiltration, I&I, which increases the cost of the operation of the system. So we've incurred more costs, and it does happen more in winter. But to predict it, if we had a heavy rain, it would happen then.
Okay.
One of the other problems that's happening nationwide is also the disposable wipes that should not be put down the toilets, and they are. And so that has caused a great number of problems throughout the nation. So,
Okay, and then we're just discussing that. We didn't do the motion yet. But go ahead. Okay.
Yeah, I had similar questions I asked Mr. Horrible in the absence of our water control. With Ray being absent, that sick list is out of office, indicated such. And Jim had come back to it, indicated that, and this was one of the most surprised because the agenda item said to date we had spent up to the $9,500, but they had indicated that existing purchase orders allowed us to spend approximately $23,000. So that's why I saw there's a little bit of disconnect. And when we were talking, okay, we're midway through the year, maybe a little past the fiscal year, it seemed to make sense that we'd add another 10,000 onto it, up to 20. But it appears that there's more expended there. And I did ask the question also with where we'd be pulling those funds from, and it's actually pulling it from the update the sewer stations account. So I was just concerned if we took it from there, are we going to short side us getting those pump stations updated? Unfortunately, I think we're in the situation where we have to take care of the emergency before we can get the pumps fixed, and I don't want to prevent that from happening either. So I was really more concerned about understanding the numbers and make sure that we allocate them properly.
What I wanted to have them do was ask for the money that they need now, and then put a bid out immediately so that do what we're trying to do is go and bid everything out, and do that as soon as possible. Now I know in Ray's original write-up it says that he was going to go at the first of the year, and I asked him not to. I said let's get it out, and so we're going to, as soon as we get it back, we'll come to the council for approval. That's why Jim's response I think was April 1st. And my understanding is the same as what my understanding was, and that's what is that we are up to $23,000 currently, and we're asking for the additional $9,000.
So we're okay. So that's
okay.
The
That's
answer.
my understanding.
We're up to 23.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Will the bid request be structured like other equipment the town asks for? Like every year there's a bid list for a backhoe, so much an hour, and there might be 3 contractors on that list. And since this is an emergency, if the first vendor can't respond, you go to the next highest. Will it be structured the same way?
Exactly, Charlie. That's what I want to have happen. Yes. We're doing the same thing with the tree surge.
Okay. Motion?
Move to waive the bidding requirements for services provided by the Drain Doctor Inc. for the remainder of the fiscal year for costs not to exceed $32,000, as this is in the best interest of the town.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. Motion carries. Thank you, Jack. Number 5.
Several years ago, the Inland Wetlands Commission reviewed an application for an 8-lot subdivision on Kensington Road by CRC Home Builders. There is approximately 12.5 acres. There is a significant amount of wetlands, very challenging. It's up on a ridge. Following the receipt of several months of public testimony, the Commission did approve the application conditioned upon several items, including the establishment of a 5+ acre conservation easement, which will protect the environmentally sensitive areas of the property. I can't remember the name of some of the areas that are up there, but they were very...
The vernal pools,
Yeah,
maybe?
that's
The vernal pools,
Yeah.
yes.
This easement will protect the easterly portion from any disturbance, and this easement document has been reviewed by Corporation Council and requires town council acceptance.
Okay, thank you. Motion on this?
Okay, move to accept the conservation easement as shown on the plan entitled Site Plan Subdivision, site plan for Carl A. and Patricia Ciarcia Jr., Lot 1, Block 72, Kensington Road, Berlin, Connecticut, and all the attachments that are with it in this motion.
Okay, second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Charlie had a question.
Oh, I'm sorry, Charlie. I'm sorry.
I just,
Yeah.
there were a lot of questions with how this property would be the sewer would access the new houses. Has that been resolved?
Yeah, Helen, I know we just voted on the motion, but that's all right. Well, just for
I'm sorry.
information. No, it's all right. For information purposes,
I think normally Jack would handle this, but
Yeah.
I don't know that he was here during that time, so I can briefly just tell you that there is a sewer easement that's coming in from Elton Road behind this property, and it was approved by the Water Commission to allow that sewer line to then flag out to the 7 lots with individual sewer lines.
So all that has been established then?
I don't know what the final review with the water department is. There was some talk where they wanted to combine the lines into, is Jack still here? Yeah, combine the lines into one, but they can't, with all this, rather than everyone having an individual sewer line, and I'm not sure what the water department worked out.
Basically, they'll create a main and who would maintain it? Is that the issue?
Yes, but the main thing is they can't create another main that then can be tied into from it, because then it's out of the jurisdiction of what is in our plan of conservation and development as far as our water extension, and it would be more than what we committed to the Mattabasic district. So the important thing is that however they do this, that they're not creating a new trunk line that can then be extended further.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
and that question really was not germane necessarily to the conservation easement, but so we voted on the motion.
Project,
really,
if you can't sort a project,
it's a
waste
question.
of time. So.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a good question.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I just wanted to make sure the motion was the motion on a separate set of facts. Okay. Number 6.
The Economic Development Commission has gotten a $500,000 small town economic steep grant to fund design and construct sidewalks to fill in missing sections along our sidewalk network and allow some movement here on Kensington Road as well as Burnham Street and other areas. The matter needs to be referred to the Planning and Zoning Commission for an 824 review because these sidewalks are within the town's right-of-way.
Okay. Motion on this?
Okay, move to refer the matter to the constructing sidewalks within the town's right-of-way as shown on engineering drawings entitled Berlin Sidewalk Improvements dated September 23rd, 2016, prepared by Malone and McBroom, to the Planning and Zoning Commission for an 824 review as per the Connecticut General Statutes.
Second on this?
Second.
Any discussion? Yes.
Quick question, Denise, on this, we already have this money, so it's not subject to those cuts? Okay. Thank you. Oh, LoSiP, yeah, okay.
Mayor?
Yes.
Those that get the packet emailed to you, if you want to see the larger plans, because it was hard to read them, I do have them for you. But if you don't want to, I won't.
They can look at mine too.
Excellent, thank you.
Mayor,
Yes.
yeah, I just had a question in the sense of notification of those that are residents with those sidewalks. I do recall many conversations with individuals who do not have a sidewalk, that are not interested in a sidewalk. It has something to do with removing snow. But I wanted to just see if there will be notice and they'll be able to have time to come and vent their frustrations and concerns, and we give everyone a chance to share. Because there may be some neighbors that are really excited about having a sidewalk, so I want to make sure the 824 review and or other situations allow them before we have to make that decision.
We had a public hearing on this, and we did have pretty good attendance, and we've gotten pro and
both
con.
sides, yeah.
Both sides. There's a couple. I have met with a couple residents that were worried about trees, that we're going to damage, remove trees, and we can move the sidewalk a little bit so we don't impact their trees. There's a couple on Kensington Road that we need to sit down and talk with the people about whether or not, we've actually got designed now to go around the tree, and if they don't want the tree, then we'll just take the tree down and go straight. But the attempt is, in a couple places, we actually decided not to put sidewalks because of the conversations with the residents. On Robbins Road, we were looking at one there, and when we actually talked to the person, we finally decided just to move it so that it didn't interfere with their property. So we're doing that, and we'll
Okay.
continue to do it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so moved. Okay, then we have the, let's take a short 5-minute recess.
Okay.
Motion for,
Motion to make a short 5-minute recess.
all right, all
That's
those-
how you put it.
second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so can we have, motion to come back?
Motion
into
to
session?
come back into session.
Second on that?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Back in session. All right, so we're on topic number 7. So, I'd like to establish the town manager search committee tonight so we can meet next, as early as next week, and just talk about some parameters for the job search and different details we need to speak of. So, thinking about a motion to establish the committee to include the members of the town council and Denise Parsons, the HR director, as the search committee.
Okay. I will make a motion to establish a search committee for the town manager search, and it will include the members of the town council and the HR representative, Denise Parsons.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Discussion.
I have-
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
You go first.
Yeah.
My discussion may not be particularly germane to the actual search committee, but I have a lot of questions after we left your last meeting. And actually, Ms. Coughlin brought it up earlier, and my big question is around cost and how we're going to pay for this. A decision was made by one member of this council to move forward with this without a plan, at least without us advising anybody else of the plan. We know that Denise was offered a package that she absolutely deserves, but we need to know if Mr. Healy is going to be given a stipend for his increased responsibilities, which I think he should be. We also need to know what the cost is going to be around to the search committee. Are we going to advertise it just in the local papers? Are we going to go national? Are we going to use a headhunter? If so, what sort of parameters are we going to put around that? If we hire someone before the 6 months of Denise's package has run out, there will be an additional cost to that. So I would like an actual plan of how we are going to be paying for this. Is it going to be coming out of contingency? Is there another fund that you all have thought about of where all this money is going to be coming from, so that we kind of know going into budget what our contingency is going to look like? Plus, we haven't even really gotten through winter yet, so we don't know if there'll be money for plows, that sort of thing. So I'm just going to open it up and ask you guys if you
That's
have
not
a
what the
plan.
motion's about. but
Okay. All right.
The motion was to establish the search committee.
Okay.
We can discuss that after.
That would be great, actually. 'cause
We ratified the agreement last meeting.
Without a plan to move forward, though, right?
What would be the plan to move forward
Where,
for what?
where is the money to do all this going to be coming from?
Money for what?
To subsidize Denise's package, pay Jack, do
Well,
a
her
search committee, hire someone. If we're going to do a relocation package, since this person has to move to Berlin, is there going to be a cost associated with that? Just looking at the the tactical pieces of this.
Well, Denise's package, the first 6 months, comes from her contract that was done in 2008.
Right.
And there'll be no town manager going forward. There'll be an interim, which will be, I would assume, will be a stipend, but it'll be a smaller
And if we
amount than
hire
her salary.
someone before the 6 months is over, there'll be
Yep.
that additional salary, right? So we're looking at maybe an overlap of 3 months
Well, we'll
of,
see how
of
far-
two
we don't
town
know that.
salaries.
We don't know.
We don't, you're right, but it's a possibility.
It's a possibility.
What is the cost of the search committee going to be? I mean, I think these are all things that should have been thought through before
Well, they
we're here
haven't
today.
thought through, but that's the purpose of the search committee when we meet next week to discuss some of these things, as far as
The
if we're going to hire a
financials
search
is-
committee, if we're going to, what will it cost? Denise Parsons is going to give us some costs
So
on
we
different
don't know
things.
where any additional funds are going to come from? Are we
Well,
going to go through contingency? I mean,
if-
this is
yeah, if we
this
have
is
to,
tac-
we
this
will.
Is, this is the result of the
If we
action
have
we
to.
took at the last meeting,
I
and we
understand
don't
that.
we don't have a plan. So
We
I'm
ha-
just
we
asking
have a
for a
plan.
plan.
We have a plan.
I have not seen where this money is going to come from.
Well, the first 6 months of her salary is already in the budget.
Understood, but we're
Right.
hiring somebody else, right? So there's
I-
going to be two
I-
town
I-
manager
I highly-
salaries being paid.
I highly doubt that's gonna.
Okay, so we have a temporary manager for
February,
90
March, April, May. I
days.
doubt if that's gonna happen, but I hope it does. If we can do it that quickly, I'd love to do it that quickly.
Okay.
But I
So no plan.
suspect it might take a little bit longer. But that's not the motion we're talking about.
Okay.
So,
Yes.
About the 7-member committee, I'm grateful that all of us will be serving on that that committee. That's helpful. I know that we've done this before. When I was on the Board of Ed, we did a superintendent search. And I'm glad that Denise is going to be Denise Parsons is going to be assisting us because she was very helpful during that time. I do know, I know you had raised a concern about potential meeting. What you do is you just move to go into executive session to interview the candidates. So,
Yeah, for that, right.
yep. So it's totally, and I'm sure Jeff can advise how to do that appropriately, but I know we can do it the right way. So I'm grateful that we'll all be serving on that committee. Thank you.
Okay. So we have a motion for the search committee. We had a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so moved. Appointments.
Are we gonna establish a date for our first meeting?
Yeah.
A plan would be good.
What do we think next week? Next week, can we all do it?
Yeah.
What's a good night for everyone?
good
Do we have a better night than
I'm flexible, so
majority
I'm
of
okay.
us?
Tuesday,
can't make
Thursday is
Tuesday.
best for me.
Tuesday,
usually.
Thursday? Tuesday, Thursdays?
I can't do Tuesday, any other day.
You can't do Tuesday? Thursdays? Thursday next week? How's that look for most?
That's
That's the
fine.
26th. Yep.
Is that good for all of us?
Yeah, that's
Yep.
fine.
Okay.
Have to be after
What time? 7?
7 or say.
Can we do it at 7?
I should do have I'll have to find a replacement for another assignment I have. I'll see what I can do.
Okay.
Okay, so
Thursday.
7 o'clock
Yep. That
next
works.
Thursday. What is that date?
January
26th.
26th.
26th. Okay, that'll be our first meeting. Denise, are you available to make it? Okay, thank you.
It's gonna have to be in caucus room A because there's a planning and.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
We'll do it.
That's
then.
okay.
That's fine.
Your
Is that-
meetings are going to have to be noticed.
Okay,
You have to open in public,
Yep.
okay.
but then you can go into executive session for
Okay.
all that. But as I talked to you about
Yeah.
that, Mayor, all right, so I'll talk to Sheila tomorrow and see if we can get caucus room A.
Okay,
Does
let me
that
know.
give us enough time for the notice, or do we meet the legal?
Yeah, you just have to do the 24-hour notice, Joey.
It's a special meeting, right?
Yes.
So yeah. Awesome. That's much easier.
And also, somebody has to, even though it sounds weird, you have to have minutes done where you open and close and who's there and that whole bit. They're very brief, but
Yeah.
just
Okay.
technical.
Can we appoint a secretary for the committee, or is that?
I think that you guys can handle it. I'll
think we can
map it
handle it.
all out.
Unless we
for
want
you.
to pay for a secretary to take
Yeah.
that.
No, I'm saying that's
I
not
add
one
that
of
to
us,
the
if
cost.
that's all we have to do, one of
Yeah,
us.
I
could
don't
do
think
that.
it's hard. I'll map
Not
it
it.
out for you.
Not it.
Town clerk has a template.
I think I heard
Do you
Dave
need a
offer.
motion on the date, or you just-
No, we're just,
Okay.
yeah, I think we're good. I think we could handle taking notes.
Okay. I take a lot of notes, so.
Me too, so we can do that. Okay, so the appointments. The first one is the library board. We had people, we'll just go down the list. There's a million of them, but we'll get through them, I hope. Okay, so we have a motion on,
Okay, first one, the library board, I will nominate Elaine Borselli.
any other nominations? Okay.
Okay, you, okay.
Well, so, yeah, we have one nomination on the
Yep.
floor. And this was, Kate, this was all of them, right? We had, right? Just.
Yes.
I know we got one today.
We got one today.
Right.
You should have them all.
Okay, just making sure. Okay, so we have one nomination on the floor. Any other nominations for that position? Hearing none. Take a vote. We vote for Elaine Purcell to fill that spot. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so moved. So number 2, library board position.
Number, the second library board, I will nominate Sharon Powell.
Okay. Any other nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor of Sharon Powell?
Aye.
Okay, so moved. Number 3, library board
Number
again.
third spot listed here, I will nominate Carol Wells.
Okay, any other nominations? All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Board of Ethics.
Board of Ethics, I will nominate Wyston Ackerman.
Okay, any other nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Board of Ethics again.
Board of Ethics, spot number 5 here, I will nominate Lou Zuki.
Okay, any other nominations? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have no one for the
Alternate.
alternate.
Empty. Okay.
All right, so we'll hold that for now. We'll go to the cemetery.
Cemetery Committee, I will nominate Stephen Viella Jr.
Okay, any other nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, cemetery committee again.
Cemetery Committee, spot number 2 here, I will nominate Anthony DeGrandi.
Okay, any other nominations? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
We have no app from him or...
There's no app, the citation officer, we don't.
No, citation officer,
What?
I'm sorry, that should have been taken off. That is done by the town manager.
Oh, okay,
I apologize for that.
It's okay.
okay. Okay, Commission for the Aging.
Commission for the Aging, I will nominate Barbara Gombatz.
Okay, any other nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, persons with disabilities.
Commission for Persons with Disabilities, I will nominate Barbara Sezenik.
Okay, any other nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
And Mr. Dombrowski hasn't put a app in, right?
Yeah, there was no,
So we'll hold off.
all right, so no other app for that. We'll hold that
Don't
for
know if he
now.
wants it.
Conservation Commission.
Conservation Commission, I will nominate Thomas Heisler. Hope I said that right.
Okay, any other nominations? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There was no applicants for the 2 alternates for the Conservation Commission at this point, so we'll move on. Historic District.
Okay, the Historic District, spot that was resigned, I'll nominate Palma Pethigal,
Okay,
or Pam Pethigal, however
Right.
she likes.
all right. Any other nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
17, for the Historic District.
Historic District, this spot here, I will nominate Susan Skeen.
Okay. Any other nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, nothing for the 2 alternates. We had no other applications. Well, I guess now there's 3 alternates because we moved Pamela up, so. Consider those. Okay, Inland Wetlands.
Okay, Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Commission, I will nominate William Jackson.
Okay, any other nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
That's all we had for that, so we've got, what, 2
Parks and Rec.
2 alternates, or 2 alternates on that to be filled. Park and Rec,
Park and Rec, so I will nominate Don Delaquia.
okay. Any other nominations? All those in favor?
Aye.
No apps, no apps.
Okay, Public, Plainville, there was no applicants for the Plainville area cable. Vacancies, so we're on to planning and zoning. So, number 27,
Planning and Zoning Commission, I will nominate Steve Woolman.
okay. Any other nominations? All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 28, alternate.
Planning and Zoning Alternate.
It would be number 27.
28 is the alternate, right?
No,
Steve was 27, right?
Steve was 26.
No,
Oh, I'm
no,
sorry,
no.
the citations are throwing it.
Yeah.
Never
Okay, there you
mind,
go.
got it.
Right, right.
Sorry about that.
P&Z's commission alternate, I will nominate Nicole Pack.
Okay. Any other nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Public Building Commission.
Public Building Commission, I will nominate Don Lombardo.
Okay. Any other nominations?
Yes, I'd like to nominate Diane Jorsey.
Okay. So,
Roll call
Diane
vote.
wants to be on planning and zoning.
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry, you're right.
That's
I
all
looked
right.
at the P, you're right, sorry.
That's all right. Do you want to withdraw your
Shoot,
nomination?
No, yeah, I'll withdraw my
Okay,
nomination.
thank you.
Okay.
so hearing no other nominations for Public Building, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Veterans Commission.
And Veterans Commission, I will nominate Peter Galgano Jr.
Okay. Any other nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Second Veterans Commission.
Veterans Commission, the next spot, I will nominate Bruce Trevathan.
Yes. Any other nominations? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. VNA.
VNA. First VNA, I
Yep.
will nominate Marcia Kloss.
Okay. Any other nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And I don't think we have anybody else, right?
Well, there's one more.
Oh, there's one more. Oh, there we are, yeah.
I will
Sorry,
nominate Denise Mazinskis.
yeah. Okay.
Right.
Any other nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
35.
All right. Water Commission.
We don't have any apps, right?
Did we?
No.
We don't have any apps.
No.
We'll skip
I
those.
didn't have any apps from that.
Okay.
Did we filled both of the cemetery committee, right? Okay.
Yes. Okay, so nothing for that. Where are we at? The
Youth Services Board?
Youth Services Board, yeah.
I'll nominate Cara Boninsigna.
Okay, any other nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The other one we don't have an app, or that may change probably, right?
We have, what, Zoning Board of Appeals?
Okay, Zoning Board of Appeals, I will nominate Corey Whiteside.
Okay, any other nominations? Hearing none,
Aye.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Jump the gun.
That's all right, yeah, there's not, the second one, there was no,
We got a few left.
well, we got some, yeah, all right. Okay. All right. Town Managers Report?
Just briefly, I'm pleased to report that it appears that we do have an off-the-record framework of an agreement with the police union that will be brought to you in February. It was reached today after another long session, but it will take some time to have it put together and checked by both sides, but it's a big change from where we thought we were heading to arbitration, so we're very pleased. So that and the mid-managers also will come to you in the beginning of February.
Okay,
That's it.
thank you. Special Committee Reports?
Mayor?
Yeah.
Yeah, for the Budget Committee, initially you got an email from Kevin Delaney, our Finance Director. He has some tweaks after that. I did a clarification. There's a handout with you. I want to make sure you see it well ahead of time. The one thing about the various department meetings, if there's ones that are near and dear to you, we've kind of scaled it down. If you want to add some, let me know. We can certainly talk about adding. But we try to hit the ones that have the most impact and that we need to make sure that we are all in accord with on listening and understanding what their plan is going forward. So those are the dates. I'm not looking for a vote or anything here. And just if there's some conflicts, let me know so I can help accommodate. And if there's questions about it, yeah.
I'll just let you know, I think most likely the week of the 14th I will be traveling for work. Don't try to adjust it. It's just kind of our annual thing. So I will not most likely be there that last week.
Okay, thanks, Rachel. I do have confirmation too from the high school that we'll be able to use the high school auditorium on the 28th. various scheduled items there, so.
Okay.
Okay.
If you think of something later, let me know. Drop me a note or give me a call. Yeah, we'll have Mr. Delaney move forward with us setting up these with the various department heads. So they'll be ready. Thanks, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any other committee reports? Anything?
We need a date for ordinance committee.
Want to do the first week in February? What do we all think? What is it? You, Kristen, myself, Charlie?
First week of February would be like the 7th? Like that week?
There's a meeting on the 7th.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yep. And I think that there's a long weekend that weekend too. So the Friday or the Monday. I'm not sure if it's Friday or Monday.
Second is Groundhog's Day.
We can do the, well, I guess it's the last week in January, first week in February. I don't know. You want to do like the, what is that, the 2nd? That's a Thursday, right?
Yeah.
Want to do the 2nd? Peter, you're on it,
that's fine.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Is the 2nd all right?
Yep.
Groundhog Day?
Groundhog Day. Well, might be appropriate. All right, so the
What
2nd,
time?
6:30.
That works.
It's good for me.
We'll do it in the, right, don't we do it usually in the council? Or the
Caucus
room A there, caucus room A?
Yeah. If we get a lot of people, we may have
Right.
to move that. But
Yeah, maybe we should just do it here.
Yeah, that'd
Yeah, let's
probably
just
be
do it
good.
here. If anyone's here that day. Well, we'll find out. So we'll do it here, council chambers, unless there's a meeting on the 2nd. I don't know if.
I can
there's-
check for you on
check.
that too.
If not, we'll do it down there. All right, so that'll be the ordinance committee. The 2nd, 6:30. And actually, and you wanted to talk about chickens.
yes.
Yes.
We were going to talk about the leashes.
And the leash law, yeah.
We
we'll
were going to
continue
talk
that.
about. I wanted to discuss the chickens and just. You said we might get an educational piece.
Yes.
Sort of from where planning and zoning was coming from.
Yes, so since Helen Riggins is here, I would ask her if you would be available on the 2nd for an education about chickens. It's a Thursday. Do you have a meeting then? Okay. Okay, good. Would you
6:30?
6:30 here? Yeah, would you be able to do that and just tell us where you went? I know the ag regs some were passed. So just go through probably the whole ag regs. Just focus on the chicken part, but the rest of them too.
How about the blight?
Yeah, we can add that in too while we're meeting. Yes,
Would we
let's
need
add that in.
Jennifer.
Yes.
in For that
What-
as well. Okay.
Jeff, can you see if? Jennifer?
2nd at 6:30?
Yeah, so we can continue with that story.
Yeah, big meeting.
Yeah. Okay, so we got
Hopefully we have Girl Scout cookies by then.
the leash law.
Do you,
Just some more discussion.
okay, I mean, I'm happy, normally the town manager would put this agenda
Yeah.
together and take
Yeah.
minutes.
Okay.
I'm happy to help with the agenda.
Okay.
And then Jack will take minutes?
Yes.
Is that what you want? Okay.
Yes.
I will put up agenda for you and I will send it out to you.
Okay.
And then you can approve it,
Okay.
or I'll send it out to the whole committee.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kate. I really appreciate you
So it'll be those
stepping in
three,
to help
right?
out there.
The leash ordinance, more discussion, the agricultural regs, and the blight ordinance.
You probably won't get it until Thursday.
Yeah, that's fine. We got time. Okay, so that's that. What, no other special committee reports, counselor communications? Yes.
Crystal.
Yes.
First, I just wanted to thank everybody for coming to the forum, and also thank you, Mark, for participating. The substance abuse forum, I think it went very well. We had some really engaging discussion with folks here, and it's just starting the conversation. So I look forward to working with everybody going forward on that issue. We're aiming for another meeting of the committee. So I will let you guys know when that is happening, and that's going to be sort of like an action discussion, like what can we do going forward to do something about this. So more info forthcoming. Also, I wanted to thank Denise for your time here and for helping me learn, what I need to be doing up here. And I appreciate everything that you've done for us and everything that you've done for the town of Berlin. Sad to see you go, but thank you.
Yes.
I have a couple of things, so bear with me. The first thing I want to mention is I went back and watched the recording of the meeting last week, and this isn't about Denise, this is about comments that were made during audience of citizens. And when I heard an individual get up and disparage one of our town employees in a way that was really, if you ask me, disgusting, and the mayor said nothing about that, I thought, well, maybe I heard wrong. So I went back and listened again, and I heard what I thought I heard. And I just want to say publicly that I am not going to sit on this council and allow that type of language to be used. And I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's my friend. I don't care if it's someone I don't know. But I hope that that gentleman will get up and apologize to David for what he said, because it was really unfortunate that we allowed that to take place without a single mention from anyone on this council. That's number one. Number two, I'm going to bring it up again since it was not addressed during the actual agenda item about a plan going forward. I am very concerned about where the cost of what we are going to be embarking on as a result of the actions that took place at the last meeting, where that is going to be coming from. And if you guys are comfortable with it coming from contingency, that's fine, but a plan would be nice. Some communication about what your thoughts are around that. I would have thought that that had been planned prior to this action being taken, especially since this was in the works for months and we have no plan going forward. So I hope to see that in the next council meeting. That's number two. Number three, and I guess this is for Jack, I had asked at a couple of meetings past if we could have a monthly screenshot of what our legal costs are. I'd like to see that going forward on a monthly basis, knowing that there's been some additional legal things that have been going on. So to see if there's anything above and beyond what we have included in our agreement. Number four, I guess, is we had all received an email from a citizen who asked us how it was that we kind of did not follow charter procedure in terms of seeing Denise vacate her seat as town manager. I asked for a legal opinion on how we came about how the mayor thought that that was possible. I would like to be able to provide that information to the citizen who asked. Per legal advice, it needs a motion from the council in order to release that, so I'm asking for a motion to release that legal opinion so that we can provide it to the citizen who asked.
Can I move to add that item to the agenda for tonight? I'm going to move to add that item to the agenda for tonight.
Okay. We have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So what's the motion on the floor?
Move to supply the opinion provided to us by council prior to today's meeting to the citizen who had requested information regarding how certain actions we took were in line with the charter.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Hold on. Before we go.
Discussion, I'm sorry.
I just want to make sure we don't violate the agreement that we made with the town manager.
There's nothing in that opinion that violates it.
Well, I'll let corporate counsel answer that, but.
Sorry, Jeff.
The question that was posed to me had to do with the procedure that was followed
so not a
for the
specific.
approval of the agreement. It didn't have anything to do with the town manager's performance. Okay.
And that privilege is all of ours to waive, as Jeff explained in the email. And it has to be a board decision.
No, I'm fine with
can't
it.
be-
I
okay.
just didn't want to violate something we agreed to.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. I'm explaining further because
Gotcha.
they hammer that into your brain in law school. So.
Okay, any other discussion?
Good to go.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The next thing that I would like to discuss.
Oh, you only had 4. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Well, I can keep us here all night if you'd like.
Whatever you want. I'm game. We're here.
The last thing that I'd like to discuss is I think it's very unfortunate that while the public was here, our mayor did not acknowledge that this was the town manager's last meeting, and you know, Denise, I just want to say thank you. I've been on this council for almost 10 years now, and you have been there the majority of the time. And the work that you have done, as illustrated by your last words tonight about that police, you know, agreement, that was a hard thing coming, and you worked hard for it. And I'm sorry that there's nobody here to hear that. I think it's a shame that we did not give you some sort of acknowledgement. So I'm giving it to you. I appreciate you. I wish you nothing but the best.
Yes.
Two things. I'd like if you could make that opioid conference available to the students at the high school and the junior high level.
Oh, the recording of it?
Did they record? Did they record it? I don't know.
Yes, they
They
did.
did?
The high school,
There's a camera
they
there,
had the data person, Vincent from high school, who was there recording it, so we do have that.
But I would press that they show that to those kids. That's important. And
Thank-
secondly, you know, the good news is I've known Denise all her life. The bad news is she's known me all her life. But it just so happens her brother and I were childhood, but we were born 4 days apart, and we've been buddies, Little League together in high school. And I've seen her. I've seen her grow into quite a woman. I'm proud of her. I was surprised she's able to do that with what we abused her with. But she never ceases to amaze me. Every time I think she won't have an answer, she has it. And in my, however long I've been here, probably too long, I just want you to know I appreciate it, and I hope our friendship continues in spite of your brother.
Funny.
I just have one more thing
Yes.
that I forgot. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay.
I sent everybody an email, Mayor, and I know you and I had a chance to chat about this. Putting, like, maybe monthly, just a standing agenda item for information purposes only, just to sort of echo some of the information that we get in our managers' reports regarding economic development and, you know, what's going on there, because so I put a post out on Facebook and asked for, you know, what can we do better, because I always want to know what I can do better. You know, continuous improvement is something that's really important, and a lot of, I sort of got back a lot of information that some of it was rumor, some of it people were, you know, wanting to know more about what was going on. People want businesses to come to Berlin, and I know we're doing a lot of great work right now. Helen and Chris are doing an awesome job. So I would really like to highlight some of that going forward. So, because our meetings are televised, and I know economic development's meetings are not. So I think it would be nice if we can add that, and I hope that you'll consider that going forward.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's fine.
I'm done now.
No. Well, other yes, Commissioner Conley.
And just a couple things. Mr. Rosso, our high school students did have they had a presentation to them. I had to sign off, or I let my daughter say, yeah, that's okay to go to an opiate type drug thing, and adding that information is fine. I just will route it through the schools. I think is they have a curriculum around that, so appreciate that concern. And I did want to thank Denise again. I've served a number of years with her as a town manager, and I've appreciated her efforts and her direction and guidance on many occasions. Thank you.
Okay. What else? Brendan?
Well, I just want to say, you know, Denise, good luck in the future. I'm sure that you will bounce back and have a successful life. No doubt about it.
Yes, sir.
I just want to say thank you also for your years of service. You did many good things, and I'm sure you'll do well. Thank you.
And I do want to thank Kristen. That was you know, you had some input into that opioid thing. I mean, I did learn a lot of things.
She organized it.
Yes.
It was her,
Okay.
her doing.
My friend and I organized it together.
You know, and I don't know if the young people there at the end, do they speak at the school? Do the kids get to see their, because I thought that was the most important part of the whole night.
Yeah, I agree. Elise is an amazing public speaker, and I think that if the high school did have a need, that would be awesome. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. for that.
Couple quick
Brenda.
things before we go. Yeah, we can do that. Kristen, what you asked for, either myself or maybe Helen or Chris Edge could come and update us maybe once a month on different things. We do meet once or twice a month with the town planner and the head of planning and zoning. We can do that. And I also would, as far as rumors go, I would caution everybody because, things on Facebook, there's rumors that, I guess the one that comes to mind is the Five Guys
Yes.
that went out there that we somehow denied Five Guys because of colors on the wall, which had been floating around for months and was completely incorrect. And we as counselors have to be careful that we don't put information out there that's incorrect as well.
Absolutely.
So just call one of our department heads or whoever in town would have that knowledge. We can always find someone that knows what's going on in town as far as whether it's planning and zoning or whether it's the EDC, that we don't get rumors floating around like that, which makes our town look business unfriendly, which they are not. So I think that's been proven in the last few months. So we can update the council so they will have that information.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And finally, yes, Denise, thank you very much for your service. It's been, 23 years? 24 with the tax collector? 25 with the tax collector time. That's a long time in government service. None of it really is easy. So I thank you very much for the time I've worked with you this last year, and I thank you for the 25 years. It's a long time, and appreciate it, and good luck in your next endeavor, and we'll be wishing you well again, I think in a couple of weeks. So. Thank you very much.
No, not you. Oh, Mark. Okay.
Okay. Motion to approve acceptance of minutes, January 3rd.
Motion to approve the January 3rd, 2017 town council meeting minutes.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
No.
I have a small.
Thank you.
Oh, yes. What?
In the minutes, it said there was additional town manager searches for Rocky Hill and Weathersfield, and it should be changed to West Hartford.
Thank you. Sorry, thank you.
Okay.
Motion to accept the meeting minutes as
Amended.
amended.
Thank you.
Okay.
Second goes along
Good
with
catch.
Second.
Good catch.
Good job, guys.
Second.
that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Before the motion, I just wanted to mention one last thing. That meeting last week, maybe someone stood up and was offensive. The whole audience was offensive, yelling out, calling the mayor a liar and different things. So the whole audience was pretty offensive. And you're
I
right.
remember when there was a sign, you defended them, right? You didn't gavel when people were holding signs, but when people are...
No, I didn't gavel.
Yeah,
when
maybe
people
you should have managed
called
the
me a
meeting.
liar
Right,
either. I
and
didn't
that
gavel,
was
right?
sort of
So
my
maybe I should
point.
have. Maybe you're right.
Yes,
But
it's
they were very
that's
unruly
been
and they were
And that's not what I'm
unprofessional.
talking about. You know what I'm talking about. If
No,
someone gets up
I-
to the microphone
I
and
understand
says
that,
what he
but
said,
the whole crowd
I'm
was
not going to
unruly,
stand
correct?
and let that
And I'm
that
not either.
happen.
Yeah,
But you
I'm
did.
not either. Yes.
And I did
That's
too.
been my point since last summer, is that it is the mayor's job to control this room, and it is your job to maintain order in this room. It is all of our jobs, if we see order not being followed, to call point of order.
Well, there's a difference between order, I suppose, and letting people speak their minds. I understand that, and sometimes that's a very fine line, so
That's
it's very
right.
difficult. I
That's
don't want
right.
to stifle their opinions because
That's
I
right.
do value whatever their opinions are, even though they're not always expressed in the best way.
Yep.
So there is I don't know if that disrupted anything, what people yelled out of turn, whatever they did, I suppose it did. But,
Well-
I do try and let people speak their minds and not stop them, but
You have a difficult job.
I can certainly do that if that's what you guys want, and we can try and, do a little bit better job at that, but I do try and let people express their opinion because that is their right at our audience of
It
citizens.
absolutely is, but they need to do it in an orderly fashion.
Oh, I
and
agree.
that's sort of what our role is up here.
I couldn't agree more.
And if that individual got
I
up
couldn't
and
agree
said
more.
what he said until the very end, that would have been fine.
Yeah.
But what he said
Yeah.
was, if you ask me, was beyond the pale. And you know what I'm talking about.
No, I know what you said, but I know what
It's
you're
not
talking
it's
about.
not the other stuff. It was at the end.
Well, the other stuff is offensive too, but, whatever. That's all offensive.
Motion to adjourn.
Second? on
Second.
that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.